Hello team, I'm going to read a book called Glog by Pippa Goodhart. In Glog's tribe there were nearly as many people as Glog had fingers and toes. There was Mumbum, Wombi, Pog, Bug, Dum-Dum, Tub, Ging, Old Slog, Gluff, Bop, Fob, Pling, Spog, Baby Glue and a few more, as well as Glog himself. One morning, when the sun was still at the bottom of the sky, Glog was woken by a poke. "Come," said Wombi, and he pulled Glog up. "Take," said Mumbum. She pointed. Everybody stood and stretched and began to collect things together. Glog's tribe often had to move on. They had to find new animals to hunt and new plants to eat. They had to find more wood for their fires. This time they had to find a good place to stay for the winter. Glog got up and put all his things onto his sleeping fur. He had a stick that looked like a bird. He had a stone with a hole in the middle. He had a big feather from an eagle. "Come," said Wombi. Wombi pointed to where the sun was growing up from the ground like a pumpkin. The day was moving, but Glog wasn't. "Coming," said Glog. The others were already on their way. Old Slog was carrying Ging. Dum-Dum was carrying Baby Glue. Pog and Bug were carrying spears. Spog was carrying a sling of arrowheads. Gluff was carrying a bow. Tub and Bop and Pling and Fob were carrying furs and baskets of food. Glog was the last person left, but there were still lots of things on the cave floor. Glog wondered how he was going to carry it all. He picked up the arrows. Then he picked up the furs. The arrows slipped and fell. Glog was getting hot. The furs fell too. "Blam," he said. He picked up the furs again. They came so high that Glog couldn't see over the top, and he walked into the wall of the cave. "Ow!" The furs fell onto the floor. Glog was cross. He packed everything together again. He tied one fur full of things around his shoulders. Then he balanced a basket of arrows on his head. Glog's nose itched and he scratched it and dropped the basket of arrows. He picked it all up again and was ready at last. "Coming," shouted Glog, and he hurried out of the cave. But there was nobody there. "Wombi, Mumbum," said Glog. Everything was quiet. Glog hurried up the hill. There was nobody there. There was nobody anywhere. Glog was alone. Glog ran back down the hill. He looked for footprints, but there weren't any on the hard rocks. He listened for sounds. All he heard was birds. Glog ran. The basket of arrows and the pack on his back made him slow. Glog dropped them and ran on. He shouted, "Tub, Pling!" As Glog ran, the sun lifted. Glog ran and ran as the day got hot. He ran far, far from his tribe's camp. The sun moved slowly across the sky. Glog stopped running when the sun began falling back into the land. He was still all on his own, and it was nearly night time. Glog saw a cave, but he knew that a wolf or tiger might be living in a cave like that. He crept close, very quietly. The cave was big and dark. It smelled damp. There were bones on the floor, but they were old bones. Nothing had lived in that cave for a long time. Glog pulled up some dry grass. He took it into the cave to make a bed. Then he took flints from his pouch and hit them together to make a spark to light a fire. Glog put lots of sticks onto the fire to make it big and hot and bright. Glog thought how his tribe must be sitting beside another fire somewhere out in the dark. Mumbum would be cooking. Glog took the few dry berries he had in his pouch. He ate them and he cried. It was time to sleep, but the cave was dark and empty. Glog wished he wasn't alone. He took 2 sticks from the fire. One was bright with flame, the other was burnt black. Holding up the torch stick, Glog went into the cave. He began to draw on the wall. Glog drew himself. "Hello, Glog," he said, to make himself feel at home. A small voice replied, "Hello, Glog." Glog jumped. "Boo," said Glog. "Boo," said the small voice. Glog smiled and picked up his stick. He drew another boy beside the Glog on the wall. "Echo," said Glog. "Echo," said Echo. Now Glog had a new friend, but he still missed his old tribe. "Good night, Echo," said Glog, and he lay down on his grass bed. When Glog woke the next morning, he was hungry. He told the boy on the wall, "Must hunt, then eat." Echo said the same thing back, but Glog knew that he would have to go hunting on his own. Glog had sharp flints in his pouch. He found a good straight stick. He dug a long root from the ground. Glog split the end of his stick and pushed the sharp flint into the crack. Then he wound the root round and round to hold it all tight together. Spear! Creeping low and moving quietly, Glog went hunting. He found some berries to eat. He found some eggs in a nest. He put 2 eggs into his pouch. Then Glog saw paw prints. Wolf paw prints. Said Glog. A wolf might kill Glog, but if Glog could kill the wolf, he would have a fur to keep him warm at night. He would have bones to make into needles and fish hooks. Glog followed the paw prints. Slowly, slowly. Crunch. Glog could hear something moving, breaking twigs. Glog froze still. He listened. He could hear pat, pat, coming closer. Glog sprang up and began to run. He could hear something chasing after him. Glog turned. He saw a great big wolf coming closer and closer. All he could do was run. Glog looked for a tree to climb, but there were no trees with branches low enough to climb. The wolf was getting close. Glog tripped. He dropped his spear. Glog fell, tumbling through twigs into a deep, dark, damp hole. Glog landed. Bump. He looked up. The wolf was looking down. Its tongue was hanging out and its teeth were big. Glog stood very, very still. He was safe, but he was stuck. The wolf's yellow eyes watched him. Will he get out? We'll have to hear part 2.